Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Mohan Silver. This is going to be episode number 8 of our Jefferson Nickel Hunt and Fill album series, and also Buffalo Nickels. In episode 7, we were able to add 2 more spots to our Jefferson Nickel album, putting us up to 128. One of those spots were a semi-key date, 1949, San Francisco. And then we also doubled the amount of Buffalo Nickels we had in our Buffalo Nickel album up to 4. And we're going to see in this episode if we can add any more Buffalo Nickels to this album. I'm hoping that we can, being there was only 4 in the album so far. So we have a lot of spots to fill. And I'm hoping also to add at least a few more spots to our Jefferson Nickel albums. We do have quite a few more spots to fill in that album series as well. So we're going to get into this box because it is another circulated box of nickels from the bank in a Loomis box. And I did notice we have at least 1, possibly 2 older looking enders. No Buffalo Nickel enders, no wartime nickel enders. But we're just going to have to see what's in here. Hopefully we'll find some more silver wartime nickels, Buffalo Nickels for the album, maybe some errors or varieties, and who knows, maybe a V-nickel. But let me get these books to the side. We'll take a look at those at the end, and we'll start hunting through these nickels, see what we can find. And I did get a new mat to hunt the coins on, and it's pretty cool. Brand new Christmas present. Thank you, baby, from my girlfriend. So we're going to see how it does. And we'll get started with roll number 1. Be right back. Roll number 3 is going to kick us off with our first find, and it is a doozy of a find. We have a 1945 wartime silver nickel. And that is a great find. Let's hope this is not a Philadelphia, because we already have that in the book. So I did not flip it yet. And unfortunately, it is going to be a Philly, but that will give us silver for the box to start, which is awesome. And this is New Year's Eve that I'm filming this. So everybody, I hope your New Year's was great, and we'll continue on with this hunt. Roll number 5 is going to give us a beat up 1941, and that's going to be out of Philly. All right, we'll keep moving. Roll number 6 is going to give us 3 more finds. We're going to add another 40s, 1947, and that's going to be out of Philadelphia. And then we're going to add 2 for the 50s. We have a 1959, and that is a Denver. And then we also have another 1959, and this one's going to be a Philly, which is harder to find than the Denvers. All right, move on to roll number 7. See what that holds. Roll number 7 is going to give us another one from the 40s, and we're going to have a beat up 1946, and it's just going to be a Philly. All right. Man, it's seeming like almost every roll we're finding something, because now this is the next roll, roll number 8. And we're going to have a 1957. That's going to be out of Denver. And also a 1958. That's also out of Denver. And a little damaged. Alrighty. Move on to roll 9. Just opened up roll number 9, guys, and slid them down. And I saw this. Can you see it right here? That is going to be a Buffalo. Oh man, can we get a date off of that? Oh, actually, you know what? Looks like we can. That looks like a 1925. If I'm seeing that correctly in the camera. It looks like a 25. Does it have a mint mark? Does not appear so. All right. Well, I'm going to look at this a little closer, but that definitely does look like a 1925. It could also be a 29. But I thought I saw something else that looked older in this roll as well. No, that's not it. Maybe not. But if I do find anything, I'll come back and also confirm that Buffalo date. Roll number 10, and we're going to have another 40s nickel. It's going to be a 1940. Pretty worn, pretty slick. And it's out of Philly. And then confirmation on the Buffalo nickel, that is a 1929 out of Philly. So not quite as old as I thought, but still in the 20s. Roll number 13, and we're going to have two more finds. Let's see, we have first a 1954 that I pulled out of the roll first, and that's going to be from Denver. Then we had an older find, a 1941, and this one is actually going to be a San Francisco. So that's pretty cool, lower mintage. And then actually back in roll number 11, I pulled a 1951, and that's going to be a Philadelphia. All right. So roll number 14, let's see what that one gives us. We're up to roll 17, and we're going to have two more finds to add to the stack. First one is going to be a 1952, and that's going to be a San Francisco. Nice to see an S Mint. And then our second, right here it is going to be a 1939. And that's going to be a Philly. So we can check that for doubling on the reverse, which I am not seeing anything there. That's definitely a Philadelphia. And then, yeah, I don't see any doubling on the obverse either. So just a 39, but I'll definitely take it. We'll move on. All right, we got up to roll number 20 hunted, and out of the last three rolls, I did pull 150s per roll. And we'll start with a 1955, and it's not going to be the semi-key date because this one is out of Denver. And it also does not have the D over S overmint mark. And we also were able to get another 1951, and that is going to be another Philadelphia. And then last but not least, a 1956. That is kind of cruddy, Denver. All right. Roll 21, and we have a horrible condition 1947. Lots of damage on the obverse, and that is going to be a Philadelphia. Wow. Beat up. Roll 24, we're going to have another Jefferson nickel from the 40s, 1941. This time, we have a Denver. If it focuses. Doesn't want to focus. Oh, there it is. All right. Pretty slick. And then back in roll number 22, we were able to pull another 1955. And it is a Denver again. Not the D over S. All right. Roll 25 is next. Roll 25, we're going to have yet another 1941 to add to the pile, and it is another Philadelphia. That's going to give us 9 for the 40s so far and 11 50s, and also a 30s Jefferson nickel and a Buffalo nickel, giving us 22 finds pre-1960 so far, halfway through this box. That is pretty darn good. And we'll move on to roll number 26. Roll number 28, and we're going to add two more finds. We're going to have the first one being a 1941. That is from Philly with, I'm not sure what this is on the back side here. But we are going to have another 1941 Philly. And then the second find is going to be a 1954. And that's also going to be out of Philly. Alrighty. Keep stacking them up. We're up to roll number 35. Two more finds can be added to the stack. And the first is going to be a 1953 out of Philly that came out of roll number 33. And then out of this roll, roll 35, we got a 47. And that one is going to be a Philadelphia example. Well, I just flattened out roll number 40, and towards the back, I see we're going to have an oldie right here, and that looks like it's going to be a 1938. If this has a mint mark on the reverse, it's a key date. So let's hope this has a little D or an S, because we already have the Philadelphia in the book. And what's it going to have? Will it have a D or an S? And it does not. So that's going to be a 38 Philly. But that's pretty cool. That is a first-year Jefferson nickel. And we'll definitely take that. And then in the prior 4 rolls, we also did have 4 more finds. We have a 1956 Philadelphia. That is going to be a book filler. And then a 1948, pretty beat up. Out of Philly. A 1941, again, pretty beat up and slick. That's out of Philly. And a 1939, which is also a Philly and not the DDR. So, all right. We'll keep on moving. We're up to roll number 45. Flatten them out. And towards the back, I spot something pretty old looking, and it actually looks like it's fairly slick, but we have another Buffalo nickel. Does this have a mint mark? No, it does not. All right, well, let's see if we can read a date on this. And that does not appear to have a date on it. Man, that's tough. I see a little something. I'm going to have to look at that better off camera. If not, I'm going to have to nicodate it, but I'll be back with a date reveal on that. And show you what else we got in the other 4 rolls. Got a 1949. That came out of roll 44. 1941. And that's out of Denver. That came out of roll 42. And then a 1948, also out of Denver, and that came out of roll 41. So, let me see if there's anything else in this roll, and get a date off that Buffalo nickel if I can. Alright, I did end up having to nicodate this Buffalo nickel, because I could not tell what it was. And we are going to have a 1919 out of Philadelphia, making this 105 years old. That is pretty old. And it's also going to be a new addition for the Buffalo Nickel album, because we do not have the 1919 yet. So that's sweet. 2 Buffalo Nickels in this box. We still have 5 rolls to go. The box is now hunted, and we finished out with 2 more finds. One of them being a pre-1960s. We have a 1940, actually not in very bad condition. And that's going to be out of Philadelphia. Add that to the 40s. And then a lower mintage 2009. And this one's going to be out of Denver, which I don't get very many of those over here on this side of the country. Usually we get the Phillies, but I'll take it. That's a pretty hard one to get. And I'll be right back with a wrap-up. And then we'll see what we can add or upgrade in the albums. We're back with the wrap-up for box number 8. This box was loaded with 40s. We had 19 total 40s in this box, and a total of 38 finds altogether for this box. It's amazing how many 40s we had. 18 of the 40s are right up here. All different dates. Nothing semi-key or key, though. And then we had 14 50s. None of those are semi-keys or key dates. 2 for the 30s. One of them being a first year, 1938. And that's a Philadelphia. and then we had a 1939. This box also gave us one lower mintage, 2009 from Denver right there, and two Buffalo nickels that are going to be additions for the book. Both of those are new dates that we do not have. We got a 1919, and you can barely see it, but a 1929, and they're both Philadelphias. And then for the box, we did get one silver, a 1945 Philadelphia wartime nickel. Unfortunately, though, this will not be an addition for the book because we already have the 45 Philly. We need the Denver and the San Francisco. So we'll see what we can add to the book. I know those two Buffalo nickels are going to be. And then I got a couple 60s right here that we might be able to add. I think 61 is one of them. But I'm going to see if any of these 40s and 50s are additions. And I hope we can fill some holes in these books. But let me do that, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back for a look at the albums. And in this episode, we were able to add 5 more nickels to our Jefferson Nickel albums and 2 more nickels to our Buffalo Nickel albums. So I'll just get right into showing what we were able to add in this episode. And that is our 1919 and a 1929 Buffalo. And then for Jefferson Nickels, 1941 out of Denver. And then we can skip over to 1956 out of Philly. And we had one upgrade in our Jefferson Nickels, a 1957 Denver. That one there looks much better than the one we had in its place. And then as far as more additions, we have a 1961 that was pretty nice. 1961 Denver, that was also pretty nice. And then our last addition for this episode is going to be a 1962 Denver. And that's going to do it as far as additions go. But if I can get a good view of how these albums are starting to look for you guys. There we go. After only hunting 8 boxes, those albums are starting to look pretty nice, and I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming along. And if you guys are enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up. And remember to subscribe to my channel if you like the content. And before I go, I did add a 2024 silver jar. And the war nickel we found in this episode, we did not need it for the book, so it's going to go in the jar. And we'll see how much we can get by the end of the year. But that's going to do it for this one. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Happy hunting.